I'm Steve James, and thanks for joining us on this weekend's 30 Minutes. This weekend, Paul Tinkle talks with 6th District Congressman John Rose, who's running for governor of Tennessee. Here's Paul Tinkle.
Congressman Rose, first off, welcome back to UT Martin. I know you know this area and so forth, but a lot of people are wondering what brings you to town.
Well, just visiting across the state. We've been to all 95 counties. In some cases, like Obion County, been many times, and Weakley County, and so just back up in this area. It's homecoming here at UT Martin, and our comms director on the official side is a UT Martin alum, and so he's been kind enough to show us around campus today and meet the chancellor here and so many of the other faculty members, and just celebrating the beginning of the 125th year of the University of Tennessee at Martin, and a great day to do it here with the Skyhawks taking on Western Illinois.
Well, let's have a little conversation about education. What status do we have today in the United States?
Well, I think nationally, but certainly in Tennessee, we're not where we need to be in terms of the outcomes for our students in Tennessee education. And so that's an issue that I hear about as I travel across Tennessee. Tennesseans want to see us improve the experience that students here get and the preparation that they receive for the careers of the future. And so the next governor is going to need to continue the work that our past governors have been doing to get Tennessee on the right path. The good news is we're making gains, but we can't let up. We got to keep our foot on the accelerator and keep moving forward. Here's an interesting statistic. If over the next 8 years we're able to get one more student each year to attainment levels in each Tennessee classroom, we'll be in the top 10. If we do that each year for 8 years in a row, one student per year in each classroom to attainment levels, we'll be in the top 10 of all measures for educational outcomes in the United States. And so that's a good goal to pursue.
I'll be kind about this word, but when are you going to go back? When is Congress going to go back to work and get past all of this stuff that's taking place? It looks like it's going to be a few more days anyway.
Well, I think it's up to Leader Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate. So in the House on September the 19th, we passed a clean continuation of current federal funding. They'll allow for more time to negotiate on some key sticking points. So we voted to pay our service members. We voted to pay, air traffic controllers and everyone else and keep the government going. What is called a clean continuing resolution. We didn't put any policy riders in there, and it passed with a Democrat vote. So. And now, it's had multiple votes in the Senate, and 3 Democrats have been joining Republicans on the Senate side. We need 4 or 5 to join in order to move it forward. And so when Chuck Schumer decides to quit playing politics, the Schumer shutdown will end.
What happens in the next few days if it doesn't? I understand there's going to be some more layoffs.
Well, I think it becomes really tough, and I think the people who it's toughest on are those who are, I guess, most vulnerable in society. So we've got service members, who've got families that depend on their paychecks, and they're going to miss paychecks this next week. Other federal workers that are missing paychecks who continue to have to work. And then we'll begin to see services degrade and benefits for Americans. So women's, infants, and children's nutrition programs will go unfunded, and there'll just be a number of areas where it starts to cause pain. We already have seen in just this first week or 10 days some slowdowns at airports because air traffic controllers are not coming to work, and we can understand if you're not getting paid, maybe you don't come to work eventually. And so it's very disruptive. It's very inefficient for the government because so much delay will happen. The progress of government that we need to be happening every day is not happening. And some of that we never catch up. We'll get back in at some point, hopefully soon. Democrats will decide to end the Schumer shutdown and we'll get back to work. But lost time is lost time.
You want to become the next governor of Tennessee. Why?
Well, I think we're at a critical crossroads for Tennessee. Tennessee's in a good place. We've had generally good leadership across both parties for many years, you might say decades. Because of that, we have low taxes and we have low debt and we have a favorable regulatory environment. But Tennessee's growing rapidly, and we see pressure developing on our state. We lose 10 acres of farmland every hour in Tennessee. We see stress on our roads, potholes, overcrowding. And so we've got a lot of challenges. We need a governor who is determined and and focused and capable and ready to go to work on the job to make sure that we confront these issues. We all remember that 25 years ago, our roads were rated as some of the best in the country. We took our eye off the ball, and so it underscores why we need a governor who's prepared to do the job. And my background and experience as a private sector CEO allowed me to learn how to lead a large organization. And that's what the job of being governor of Tennessee is. I've learned things as a legislator, but being a representative in Congress is very different from the job of leading our state as the governor. And so we need a governor who's ready to go to work on day one, who doesn't have to do on-the-job training. And it's a difficult job. I believe it'll be the hardest job I've ever had. It's not a retirement job. It's not a trophy or something that you can claim as an accomplishment. It's hiring on to do the toughest job in Tennessee, in my view. And I think I'm ready for it, and I think my experience and background equip me to do this job well.
You represent the people over on the Cumberland Plateau, and a little larger than that, actually, but you have spent time on the farm. You understand agriculture. Tell me what, I would like to dig a little deeper on this, but what can the state of Tennessee do for our farmers?
Well, I think we have to work alongside efforts at the federal level, but I think what we can do, and we've seen some excellent programs through the years, like the Agricultural Enhancement Program, where we are taking resources generated from various sources in the agricultural community and making grants available to farmers so they can improve their operations and do a better job, be more efficient, more effective producing. I think we want to continue to do that. I think we want to invest in value-added products. You know, one of the great things about West Tennessee is we're really good at producing commodities, corn, wheat, soybeans, cotton, sorghum, but maybe sometimes we don't take advantage of the opportunity to add value to those products before we export them out of this area and out of this country. And so we need to foster more innovation right here in West Tennessee and in Tennessee to encourage our farmers and business owners, entrepreneurs, to think about how can we take the commodities that we produce and add value to them before we send them away and generate more activity and more income for Tennesseans that way, and more activity in these rural economies across West Tennessee and over into the Cumberland Plateau area.
How do you feel about Memphis? We've got National Guard. We've got a lot of things going on that are trying to knock down the number of murders that have been taking place in Shelby County.
Well, I support the president and the governor calling in the National Guard, but we have to be mindful that this surge of federal and state law enforcement, those are at present temporary fixes to try to help Memphis get a handle on things. The next governor has got to look at how we solve these issues long term.
How would you solve it?
Well, I think it means I think we have to figure out an effective way to augment what the city of Memphis is doing in terms of law enforcement. We've got to make sure that they have the police force that they need and that they have prosecutors who are willing to prosecute crimes and judges that are willing to convict criminals. And so the state can't just say, well, Memphis made bad choices. Memphis has made some bad choices. They've had 30 years of one-party rule there, and we see where that's gotten them. And so, but Memphis is an administrative creation of the state of Tennessee. Tennessee can't just write Memphis off, nor should we. It's the crown jewel of the Mid-South, and we need Memphis to thrive if Tennessee is going to thrive. And so the next governor's got to roll up their sleeves and figure that out. And I've got some plans that I think will allow the state to step in and backstop what the city is doing, in some cases take care of the problems the city has been unwilling to take care of.
What did you do before you became a congressman?
So I started a business as a second-year law school student back in 1992. A friend of mine that was in law school with me, we had a business idea in the IT space. We turned that idea into a vision and created a small business and created scores of jobs. And over an 8-year period, we trained 4.5 million Microsoft certified professionals around the world. So it was an international business. We were very blessed in our success, but we built that business and then sold that business back in 2000. Later, I started another business in the same general area, training computer professionals. Still own that business today. And then I've been farming, blessed to have an 8th generation farm that goes back to 1790, 235-year legacy, and operate that. It's today a commercial cow-calf operation. We have a few row crops, but that's what I've been doing before I got into public service 6.5 years ago.
Then you worked in the legislature. Well, you worked for the governor, is that not right?
Well, I did. I got the chance back in 2002 to serve as Tennessee's Commissioner of Agriculture, managed the Department of Agriculture, at that time about 1,000 employees. So got some experience leading a significant part of Tennessee state government at that time. And again, I believe I can bring those skills to bear for the good of Tennessee.
If you had the magic wand and you wanted to do something for the state of Tennessee, where would that wand go? East, middle, west, or do you have something that's going to be for everybody?
Well, I think it needs to be for everyone, and you know, the two issues I would put at the top are education and infrastructure.
You're talking roads.
Yeah, roads.
And going underneath Nashville out to the airport.
Well, I think when you've got a private sector investor that's willing to invest in your public infrastructure at no cost to taxpayers, I don't know why you don't say, yes, we'll take that. We'll see how it works. I mean, there are some concerns, obviously, and the state will have to watch over that and make sure that it gets done correctly and doesn't cause problems. But I think that's a perfect solution to a problem that exists there that can ease the overcrowded traffic to and from the Nashville International Airport. So I think if that works, we'll likely see more of that happen around the country and hopefully in Tennessee. Anytime, again, that you can get private sector investors to take the risk, I think that's good for Tennesseans. But we know that roads fundamentally are a public investment, and so we've got to figure out how we take care of the roads we already have. West Tennessee is blessed to have some great roads because of past efforts. But we've got to maintain those roads, and where they no longer are adequate, we've got to put the resources in to expand them so to meet the needs of West Tennesseans. And that's true all across the state. It's almost humorous because wherever I go in Tennessee, I hear people say, well, I don't know how it is elsewhere, but here roads are a big problem for us.
Have you been out here on Highway 22 or 43? We've got some things that I think the folks in Union City, where we have a great big park called Discovery Park America, and I mean, people driving on that road, and quite frankly, it needs some work. I mean, it needs some work now, too.
That's absolutely correct, and we see that across the state. The state, I think, to conserve resources, has spread out the resurfacing of these roads to too many years, and then we see that with rough roads that are difficult to navigate.
Congressman John Rose with us here for a few minutes. And Congressman, what about your family? We haven't heard anything about wife, children, and so forth.
Well, I'm blessed. As I said earlier, I'm an 8th generation Tennessean. I'm blessed with a great Christian wife, and grew up in a great Christian home. Great mother and father and 3 siblings, and just so I've been very blessed. Chelsea and I have 2 boys, a guy who is 8 and is the most famous member of the family from a video where he was making faces behind me while I was speaking on the House floor that some people have seen, many people have seen. And then Sam, who's 4, and hoping one of those or both of them will keep the family legacy alive on our farm over in Middle Tennessee. And, you know, just so blessed to see them. They go to public schools in Smith County, and excited to see them grow and develop, and my wife is such a supportive player in terms of running for governor, and she's been very successful in her own right in the work that she's done supporting the future farmers of America in Tennessee.
Let me touch you on this subject. At this time that we're talking here, we're looking at bringing the hostages home from Israel, from Gaza to Israel. President Trump has been very focused, and I'm a little surprised he may not have. He should have had the Nobel Peace Prize for all that's been taking place. But your take on what is going on in the Middle East, at some point, Tennessee and the Middle East will have a gathering of some point. We don't know when, where, or how, or maybe it's buying a product or selling a product.
Sure. Well, it's very inspiring to see the work that the president's done in negotiating this peace, and we know that's always tenuous and could go sideways at any moment, and so many times in the past has. But the president has been determined and focused on this since he came back into office, and I think has now this would be I think maybe the 8th major peace settlement that he will have helped to broker around the world. Certainly, this one is probably the most momentous, ending months of conflict and in what's been a decades, you may say generational conflict in the Middle East, we hope to see a lasting peace between Israel and the Palestinians, it looks promising at this point. The president has been resolute, and obviously Israel, deserves the safety and security for their people, and we all look back to the scurrilous attack a couple of years ago that began this latest, war, and so the president bringing it to an end, I think, is a good thing. Certainly, we want peace for folks on all sides of this. The Palestinians, I know the Palestinian people, they want to live in peace. That's the goal of everyone. And so if the president can get to a lasting peace here, I think it will be good for that region of the world, and it'll be good for our country because obviously, we trade with these folks, and we end up getting called upon to help resolve these conflicts when they happen. So I think everyone is hopeful. We've seen this conflict, the anti-Semitism surrounding it, spill over into our own country, and it's very concerning when we see this on our college campuses, and we've seen a lot of violence and protest and anti-Semitism rearing its ugly head here in our country, and we need to stamp that out and find ways to educate the next generation of Americans about how important it is to be tolerant of the Jewish people and tolerant of all views and perspectives and religions, but not tolerant of hate and not tolerant of the calls for violence that we've heard so many times and seen manifest in recent weeks and months here in our own country.
You're a man of God, I know that to be, and in that world, Charlie Kirk, your thoughts?
Well, I think, absolutely inexcusable and horrifying to see any person who is standing up and speaking, for and calling for free speech and calling for tolerance and what touches my heart, professing his faith and witness as a Christian. And to see someone take his life was just horrifying. But perhaps just as horrifying is to see the folks who've stepped up and attempted to defend that or to excuse it or justify it. That's really sobering, and we've seen that right here in our own state. And we've seen that among college professors that work for public universities in this state, and we, thankfully, the leaders of those universities, I think, have acted quickly and resolutely to stop that. But I think we still have some work to do there. We should not have fields of study at our public universities that are about tearing down the very foundations of Western civilization. So we have some work to do, and I think the next governor has a job to do to look closely at the fields of study that are being underwritten by the taxpayers of Tennessee and ask some hard questions about should this be a field of study at a Tennessee publicly funded university. And so I would pledge to take that task on. We also need to make sure that the curriculum and the books and textbooks that our students are being exposed to are not counter to the values that we champion as Americans.
A lot of things in education that I know you're not happy with because there are certain things that small children don't need to be reading certain books or looking at certain books.
Absolutely, and we've seen the spreading of these ideas of gender fluidity and various other topics like that I think are just counter to what you learn, what I learned at least on the farm as a small boy, and got very much a clear understanding of at a very young age, and so some of these ideas are just so counter to the values that we cherish as Tennesseans, and we've got to make sure that we're not spreading this poison to our children and the next generation of Tennesseans, and the governor has a role in that, of making sure. That doesn't mean that we suppress free thinking and people will be free to make their decisions, but we ought not be using public resources to spread radical ideology.
You have seen a lot of discussion and television, and a lot of things have been written. You've got boys that are boys, girls that are girls, and there is that subject of who's going to be in whose locker room.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really clear. And again, I learned that on the farm as a 2 or 3 or 4 year old, the difference between boys and girls. And there's no confusion there, I think, for the vast majority of the population. And so I think we'll look back on this period where some are questioning those things, and we will shake our heads in disbelief that this happened. And so we have to stamp this out. Boys should be in boys sports, girls should be in girl sports. We shouldn't allow this. We shouldn't have people that are encouraging our young people to question this. God created male and female, and we shouldn't we shouldn't be encouraging some notion that there's a choice there. Again, I think we'll get this right. I think it's unfortunate that we've got some people that are spreading these lies and confusing young people about these issues. We know from the past that there are medical conditions where there's, so-called gender dysphoria. It's a mental condition. It can be treated. You don't encourage somebody who has a problem to believe that their problem is that's counter to nature is somehow a choice for them. You help them get through it, and that's what we've done for decades, years, generations. And we got to get back to that and stop this nonsense. And so the whole idea of transgenderism is just something that the public domain should not support. Public education should not further these radical ideas.
You've made a major decision to run for governor. If you don't win, you still are going to lose your seat in Washington, and that's the way it works. Is there somebody out there that you are looking for to be the next congressman from your district?
Well, I think that's up to the people of the 6th District of Tennessee, 767,871 people when they did the 2020 census. There are many qualified Tennesseans who could do that job, and I'm sure the people of the 6th District will find the right person to do that or find a capable person to do that. That's the decision they'll make. I'll certainly make my decision about what to do there for me and how I vote, but I feel comfortable, and I think that's the way the founders wanted it. They wanted a citizen legislature. I will have served 8 years when I step down, and I'm very much ready to come home and focus on other things, and I believe I'll be the next governor of Tennessee, and so that'll keep me busy, but I feel like we'll be well represented in Congress.
How close are you with Governor Bill Lee?
We've been very close, and we share a similar background, an agricultural background. I chide him sometimes because I think I've got a generation on him in terms of my Tennessee heritage, but we come from a similar background of a connection to agriculture. We're both Christians, and then we both value family greatly, and we both have a business CEO background.
So is it safe to say that you have shuffled manure?
I have indeed, yes, more times than I care to remember. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I'll be doing it in the future too. I've done some of it in Congress.
I was getting ready to go there. You just jumped ahead of me. You're going to be in Obion County real soon. There is Republican Day, as it's changed its name through the years. But let's talk about a special day that Republicans can come together and share why they want to be governor or whatever else it may be.
Yeah, looking forward to Friday, November 7th, the Obion County Reagan Day dinner. And as I understand it, each of the current candidates on the Republican side, will be on hand that evening. I hope that's true.
And that'll be the first time that the three of you will be together.
I think technically it'll be the second time, but the first time here recently that's happened, and that the attendees will get to hear from all three candidates, assuming that actually happens, and so a chance for Republicans to evaluate the records and the capabilities of each candidate and make a decision. There's going to be a straw poll as a part of that event, and so a chance for area Republicans to weigh in on who they think the next governor of Tennessee ought to be.
And I would ask you this question to follow up of all of those. Why do you think you are the best to be the next governor of the state of Tennessee?
Well, so again, it's the executive experience that I have. The job of being governor is fundamentally the CEO of Tennessee. And so that's the job, to lead this state, lead state government. And so we need someone who's prepared to do that job. And I've done that job in the past, and my opponents haven't. I bring a lot of other attributes to the table. I've been well-trained, a great public education and higher education in agricultural economics, and a law degree from Vanderbilt University. And, of course, I've had this last 6.5 years that I've served in Congress. But it's that CEO experience and the lessons I learned on the farm of managing our family farm and learning from my grandfather and dad about that. All of those experiences, I think, taken together. But really the leadership experience in a business, I think, is what will be most applicable to serving as the next governor. So I'm ready to roll up my sleeves on day one and go to work. And I think my opponents, with all due respect, would have to have some on-the-job training.
Is there a separation, without naming names here in this part of it, but is there something that sets you apart from other candidates?
Well, again, I think it's that experience and the proven track record of managing organizations, knowing how to, find the right people, put them in the right seat on the bus, knowing how to make the tough decisions when things don't work. One of the toughest lessons I learned as a corporate CEO and leader was how to fire people, when it's time to say someone is not getting the job done. That's never an easy thing. It's never something you enjoy, but it's a necessary part of leading an organization. And so I've done that, and I have that hands-on training, and the people of Tennessee would not have to suffer through me making those mistakes, hopefully. I think with others who haven't had that, and I have the youth and vitality, I think, to take on this job. This is not an easy job. It's not a retirement job. It's not a trophy to put on the shelf. It's not a reward for past service. It's a job for the future, and it's about the future of Tennessee. And so that's why I say I've been to all 95 counties. I've been listening to Tennesseans. I'm going to be doing that a lot more. When you turn on Fox News at night and you watch, you're not going to see John Rose very often there in your living room on the TV. But I would like to come and sit with you at your kitchen table and hear about what you want for the future of Tennessee.
One of the things that I've always liked to ask is the questions that I think the people, what you and I would call the regular people, and that is, number one, do you mow your own yard?
I have. I don't today, because if I did, my yard would be a mess, because there's too many times when I wouldn't be there at the right time. But that was one of my first jobs as a kid. When I was 10 years old, my dad put me out mowing the lawn at our house, and then I turned that into a community job and mowed lawns for about 12 or 14 years until I graduated from Tennessee Tech. I mowed several lawns in our area. So I've done that, and it's enjoyable work. There's nothing like working on the farm or doing something like mowing a lawn where you can go out and do the work and then look back on what you've accomplished. And so that I draw a lot of inner strength from just those experiences, and I think most people do. Most people that farm, I think, they enjoy planting a seed and seeing it turn into a crop. And
question number two, and I'll get right to it. Where do you go to church?
I attend the Jefferson Avenue Church of Christ in Cookeville. That's where Chelsea and my boys go, and we have a great congregation there and a great Christian ministry that we enjoy.
What's your favorite color? I mean, there's something besides red, white, and blue, but is there something like, I've got a red car, I love the green car?
Well, blue has always been, I know that's maybe too pedestrian, but it's always been my favorite color.
Is it a pickup truck? Do you ride in a pickup truck?
I have a gray metallic 2001 Chevy pickup that is my favorite truck of all time, and I still have that and still use that.
Congressman, thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you again soon, and God bless you.
Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be with you, Paul.
You've been listening to 30 Minutes, a community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. You can listen to this broadcast and others anytime by visiting thunderboltradio.com and following the Thunderbolt Radio and Digital YouTube page. Thanks for listening.